What is going on, guys? This is All Gaming with my review of Magi, the Kingdom of Magic, episode 24. And this episode, it was freaking amazing. It got me so hyped. We had so much fighting. As we can see, the story, it also made a ton of progression as well. And so now we see that the medium, it was not actually destroyed from the combination of extreme magic between Alibaba and Cohen, but we do see now that the astral flames, they are still covering the medium, and we see now that any black gems that are trying to come out, they are being burned up. So even though they can take out the medium, they're at least making progress, because the more gems that the medium makes, the more they get burned up. So it is wasting its Magi, so eventually they actually could, like make it drop the board so they can really take it out. And we see now that Cohen here, he actually wants to attack it again, so he tells Alibaba to go replenish his Magi, in the volcano. And we see now when they're flying toward it, the medium here, it's actually picking up and it actually, becoming smarter, as we see that it actually makes these hands now that are able to take out the volcano. And that right there, was kind of awesome, because we can see that it's kind of evolving. And not only is it evolving brain-wise, but it's also evolving, body-wise as well. Because we see that it was covered in those flames, but we see that, it's changing its form. And it actually, takes on the form of a very, anorexic person. And it basically, it basically bones with, like, this very, this very skinny level of skin on there. And as we can see now, that it also, kind of has like this hair, but it mainly uses it in the form of a hand, and in the form of, like, very long arms and hands. And we see now that it does not have a head at all. So, it's like a headless beast running around right now, but it's very smart. And we see now that it actually uses those hands of it to actually try to go reach the black spot in the sky. But of course, now they aren't going to let that happen. And we see that Alibaba here, he actually goes into attack it, and it still can make the board, like, to protect itself. But we see that all those hands is centered its attention to Alibaba, and also, go after Cohen as well, because both of them go in there and try to attack it. And so we see that when he can't actually touch them, not only does it, absorb their Magi, it also, absorbs the skin on the body as well. Because it would have killed them if it held up any longer. Because we saw that eventually, when they got free, thanks to other attacking it and cutting off his hands, we see that they're missing a lot of skin, especially Cohen. I felt so bad for the guy. This episode, it was like really graphic, and that right there, I actually liked it a lot. I'm glad that they didn't censor it and they showed it, because that right there really added that next level touch to the episode. And so we see now that their bodies, they're like missing a lot of skin, especially Cohen. Like, I'm surprised that guy was like still alive from how much skin he was missing. Like, luckily for Alibaba, it only, grazed his arm. But for Cohen here, he actually got grabbed by it. So that guy really felt, a ton of pain. And so we see once they're free, and, what's her name? And, Koyoku actually, sees them. She gets really pissed off. And we see now that when she attacks the medium, like, at first it put up the board, but some of her attacks actually went past the board, and it was able to actually hit the medium. And so of course Aladdin picked up on that, and he was saying that the medium here, it could only put up a board with his hands. So if they attack somewhere else, then it can't defend themselves. And that right there, this didn't be working. Except Aladdin here kind of made a mistake, as he summoned 3 Saiyan Ugos, and they did attack the medium, and it did block 2 of the fireballs, but one still hit it. And we see now that once again the medium, it actually uses its hands here to wrap around the Saiyan Ugos and absorb the rebuke from them. So not only can it absorb rebuke from the people, but it can also do it from the land, because at one point we saw that it touched the land, and everything around it kind of died. And so now we see Cohen here, he actually told Aladdin, don't do anything reckless, but he actually didn't left it to his brother Kome. And we see Kome now, he actually works with Hakue, Koha, and Koyoku by teleporting them to like different places. So Hakuei, she got behind the medium, and she used her extreme magic to like lift it into the air. We have Koha here, who actually forced it back into the sea, and then we have Kyoku, who was actually able to pierce the body of the medium and had it suspended into the air. And so now we have Koen, who finished healing himself, and then he also healed Alibaba as well. And so of course these two were not going to stay on the sidelines. So they all, went out there to attack the medium together. As we saw, they were still being suspended by Kyoku's, extreme magic. So all of them now had used their extreme magic. And I gotta say, Kyoku's, like, hers looked the best. And we see hers, has that, like, lasting effect to it as well. But we see that they're all attacking it. But because they had used the extreme magic, they are barely holding on to the medium. And so now we see at one point the medium, it actually attacks Kyoku, and we see that like mainly the skin on her legs, they were missing after she got free thanks to Koha, but they were all very weakened, and we just have Al-Thamen and Goyokuen, who we all know is the current emperor of the Ko Empire. She was like watching the battle thanks to the two members of Al-Thamen that were there, and they were like sending Ryu back and forth, so she'll be updated onto this battle. But of course, Goyokuen, she had knew about Aladdin, and she also knew that he has Solomon with him as well, and so she was saying that Aladdin definitely knows about her because she was also a part. Well, she was also one of King Solomon's Magi. And we see now, like, if you guys read the manga, I'm pretty sure you gotta like put in pictures together, especially what's been going on recently in the manga. But we see that she's now moving out, and they even give her, this staff of hers, and we see that she considers Solomon, too arrogant, and maybe that's why the world is kind of in the state that it's in now. But we actually see that after the medium had attacked Goyoku, we actually have Kome here, who gets very angry, and we see now that he actually dropped this mountain, but on the medium, and this guy is pretty freaking awesome. But we see that the medium here, it's almost unstoppable, as we see that not only is it absorbing the Ryuk from the sea, but I also believe that it also absorbed some Ryuk from that mountain that Koyome had dropped on him. As we saw that its size, it was always increasing throughout the episode, because at first it wasn't that big, but then once it got to the sea, it was freaking huge. So clearly, from all this Ryuk that it's absorbing, it's getting bigger and bigger. And so we see now with Goyokuen. Hopefully I'm saying her name right. We see now that she's heading out, and apparently she considers this medium like more of a child, because it had only assimilated with their father, as she called it, a little bit. So now she wanted to go there to make sure that that things go smoothly, and she also wants to confront Aladdin, because they are both Magis from Al-Thamen. And that flashback that we saw of her serving as like one of Solomon's Magis, and we see her eyes glowing red, it's obvious that she's always been evil, or at least that right there is what they like want you to believe. And now we see that the Solomon here, in the flashback, he was questioning that they could not allow this to the end. So clearly, Solomon does feel kind of bad about everything, because we see now that Al-Thamen was definitely destroyed, and of course we did not want the same thing to happen in this world. And so now Aladdin here, he was saying that if back in Al-Thamen they were able to destroy a medium one after another, that clearly with all these metal vessel users here, they could surely take down one. But at the same time, it did not seem like that, as we see soon enough that everybody kind of get like taken out here thanks to all of these hands, and Koyoen, he kind of has to heal them all, because of course they all can't really fight. As we seen at one point, the medium, it had tried to attack Hakuei, my bad. The medium here tried to attack Hakuei, and luckily Aladdin was protecting her. But at the same time, that's when we saw Koyoku actually get hurt was because she attacked the medium and her attack didn't do anything, and that would lead to her being hurt. And now we have Hakuwei, who also got hurt, even though Aladdin was protecting her. And then we have, Koha here, who actually had to save Koyoku before she was killed, and then he got hurt, and we all know that Akome, even though his power is great, that whole teleporting thing is pretty awesome. He can't fight like that, and Aladdin here, I mean Alibaba here, he didn't have much Magoi left, as we saw these different color veins appearing on everybody's body, so they were all clearly reaching their limit, but Koyoku was still healing them. So at one point we see that the medium, it actually reaches out to the black spot, and we see now that it's slowly pulling it down, and that right there is definitely not a good sign. And we see that we see Alibaba and Aladdin, they of course yell out for it to stop, and then out of nowhere we just see this lightning bolt come down and strike the medium, which of course causes it to let go of the black spot. And now we have Sinbad here arriving like a boss. Sinbad definitely knows how to make an entrance. He now comes to the rescue, but he also brings some people with him, and they're all the metal vessel users of the Seven Seas Alliance. And we see now that they all definitely have ties to other characters that we've seen. Some of them even look like them. So I'm pretty sure you guys can put the pieces together about which characters that we're familiar with kind of belong or related to these characters that we're seeing for the first time. But all of them, they are metal vessel users, and they all go into their Genequips, and it look very awesome. And so of course now Alibaba here, he is definitely exhausted. So once he knew that everything was kind of fine now, or at least they had some backup, he actually falls unconscious, and we see that he's saved by Morgiana, who's definitely rocking her new powers, as we saw her flying, and she had these fire wings. So that right there was pretty freaking awesome. And so now we see that Yunnan and Morgiana, they were actually able, to pick up on what's going on, and they were the ones who had gathered Sinbad and the others, to come here. And so now we have Goyoken or Goyoen. She actually, picked up on Sinbad's arrival, and even she said that he could be the one to become the king, or he's the miracle of this world, who everybody should hate. But we see now that she's still going there, even though Sinbad has now arrived, because she actually wants to for him as well. And so now we see that Yam, who is Aladdin's teacher, and we also had Drakon as well. We see that because we see now that the members of Drakon household, they can actually take on similar forms like him, and they were attacking the medium. But then after Morgiana had put down Alibaba, she was looking at his household members, because they had assimilated with their household, and we see that Morgiana, she actually wants to be like that. But Yunnan here was saying that if she does that, she can never become human again. So I'm hoping no matter what, Morgiana never does that, because she has to stay the way she is. But she actually goes, to fight the medium, and we see now that she can use her household vessel with no problem now, and it was definitely impressive the way that she had used it. And her flames, I do want to say that they are unique. It does look different from any kind of flames that we've seen so far. Hers has this beautiful color and glow to it, and we see now that she actually attacks the medium, but sadly she has no effect on it. But then we have Sinbad here, who actually landed to talk to Aladdin, Alibaba, and Yunnan. But he was saying that they are going to take out, this wannabe god, because he had no plans to get involved, between a war with two nations. But when this medium appeared, and we all know that it's an uninvited guest into the world, he definitely had to get involved. So like I said, the episode was definitely good. It got me so freaking hype. I am glad that that Sinbad is here, and Morgiana as well, and we get to see some new some new Genequips that we haven't seen before. So it seems that next week the series isn't going to end, and I cannot say that it's going to end on a better note, because I'm definitely hyped right now. But as always, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. and you guys take it easy. I will see you all next time.